man. That's it. That's it for this morning. Big thank you to the sponsors of the morning show. National Bank always here for you. The Cable, Quartz, Domino's, Smart Electronics, and Beacon Insurance, man. Frank and Candid up next. Take care of yourself. Enjoy what's left of your morning. And until next time, God bless. Take care of yourself. I'm out of here. Hey!
Of Christmas, the cable gave to me free internet connectivity with lots of prizes and surprises for my loyalty, proving the cable really cares for me. There's HBO Plus streaming on Ultra TV and free extreme internet upgrade for all teachers in this land. So get your cable plan and bundle packages for the family. The cable gave me a platinum card that's interest-free with online shopping capability and money transfer options with no global restrictions and no monthly fee. The cable is giving back to you and me. The cable is giving back to you and me.
Roll up to roll up, yeah. Cause no man's alone, do what's right, alright. Cause I love you, brother, my sister. And we're in this together, my sister, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us, yeah. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Tell your mommy to let it roll out.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Good morning. Welcome to a brand new edition of Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nass. Glad to have you on this hump day. Hope all is well. Let's go to the news. The St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank Limited is set to acquire the operations of CIBC First Caribbean on St. Kitts Nevis. The 50-year-old institution is part of a consortium of leading banks in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union that has announced that it has entered into definitive agreement to acquire the branches and banking operations of CIBC First Caribbean in Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The agreement executed on October 12, 2021 is subject to regulatory approval and the customary closing. The St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank, as part of the consortium, looks forward to working with CIBC First Caribbean to finalize the transaction over the coming months, with both working diligently to ensure the transition is seamless for all stakeholders. Until regulatory approvals are obtained and the transaction closes, operations at all institutions will continue as they currently do. And Cuba will fully reopen to tourism on November 15th. That's according to the Ministry of Tourism in Cuba. The Cuban government says it is on course to have vaccinated over 90% of the population by mid-November with their own developed vaccine. Travelers that aren't vaccinated will still need to present a negative PCR test taken no more than 72 hours before traveling. Diagnostic tests will be carried out randomly at the airport. You will need proof of medical insurance covering COVID-19. Okay, and that's the news to the moment. All right. Today I want to touch on a subject that actually caught my attention yesterday when one of the callers to the program started to talk about our elections and our electorate and suggested the way people should vote when it comes to choosing who governs. And the call itself caused me to recollect conversations I've had in the past with regards to the issue of the electorate and how they vote. Now, under our system here in the region, and I'll stick with the region since this is where we're most familiar with, even though there are some other places or some other jurisdictions that support the point. But here in the region, we are, for the most part, accustomed to a two-party system. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, in my lifetime, and I guess in most of your lifetime, we have only known of a two-party system that's viable in this country when it comes to elections. I grew up under a St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, which then there was a change to a People's Action Movement administration, even though in a coalition with some party, a party on Nevis. And then we changed again back to the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, and then changed again to, well, in 2015 we had what was considered a new dispensation, a new construct in Team Unity, where a coalition, yes, but a unit campaigned for elections. But still, your choice was still limited to two, either Team Unity or the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party. So all along, we have always been accustomed to a two-party system, or two-entity system, if you will. And so therefore, when we as an electorate go out to vote, and however we make up our minds as to whether we're going to continue with the administration we have or we're going to change, our options are limited to those same two. And so in changing, you keep changing, but if you're unhappy and you want to change, your only option is to go back to the old. And the caller alluded to that, but made the point that it is possible that, say, even though it's just two parties you're looking at, or two entities, that it is okay to go. If you want to make a change, it's okay to go back to the old. The argument is that, well, as I suspect that the old will campaign that way, strategically, that, well, you know, we have learned from our mistakes, we will do better next time, which will always be the cry from the party of the old, that we want to come back, give us another chance, even though you've had some chances, and we will do better. So that's fine. I have no problem with that argument as a political strategy or campaign strategy. That's fine. But it leads me to recollect conversations about this whole idea of just having two options. And there is a possibility of a third option. Possibility. But nobody thinks that that's viable. If you say anything about a third option or third party, people look at you like you're crazy and they say that could never happen. That's failure. From before it starts, that's failure. It just ain't happening in our region. And so, third parties, doomed to fail. Independent candidacy, doomed to fail. It's all failure, written all over it before it begins. So, which is reasonable to think that way, because traditionally here in the region, third parties don't tend to do well at the polls in our system. So as far as the post elections that are so dominated usually by the two major political parties. It is true in the region mostly. Even in the United States it is true. Democrat, Republican, that's it. Anything else just don't make it. But anyway, the commonly accepted wisdom in the Caribbean has been, and still is, that third political parties are doomed, and that any attempt to establish them will be met with failure. This belief is based on the fact that in almost all of the region, all of the countries in this region, where a third party has made an attempt to gain the support and challenge the political process, it has been met with failure. And in most instances, if not all, members have lost their deposits. The electorate, therefore, seems to have lost trust and confidence that a third party will meet any significant success, and have come to see that as they would say, a waste of time to even think that. A commentator, one Wellington Ramos, writes for the Caribbean News Now. He once suggested that this failure is due to poor planning, no grassroots campaign, and he says also the timing of the launch of these political parties and candidates is usually just before an election, which is bad timing. And he also states that after they lose, they just disappear. All things to think about. So, do you think that third parties are doomed to failure? It is, to me, not certainly not wise to give a quick answer to that. You have to give it some thought, because in a theoretical sense, nothing is really doomed to failure. The context and circumstances of an issue require serious deliberation. Now, this will determine the success of the effort or its need to change course. Nothing, in my mind, should be condemned outright. If third-party officials have a clear philosophy and ideology, and that connect with the aspirations of the people, and they win the people's trust, the groundwork is laid for serious, constant, and persistent work. If party officials are committed to the political work required to enlist the faith of the people in the party's objectives, then support will be forthcoming over time. It's not going to be overnight, but over time. Remember, the third party is in the political business of changing mindsets and re-socializing people into a new way of thinking and being. It will be challenging, of course, at first, but consistency and constancy on the part of party officials are what's necessary. And most times you don't see that happening. I would say then that third parties are therefore not necessarily doomed to failure, because they have the potential to attract new blood and talent into the political process. They can bring new ideas. They can challenge the old established ways of operating, and they could bring hope to those who want serious change in the infrastructure of our politics. Third parties can also bring ideas about different, more workable political structures and processes into the political system. They can introduce a more ethical and moral politics into the political system that is weighed down by the traditions that have not worked to the benefit of the masses. They are therefore then, again, not doomed to failure. In fact, some would suggest that they really do not fail at all. Instead, what people say is that, or some people say, is that those who have been instrumental in their establishment that we consider that have failed, they have failed to consistently operationalize the beliefs and the philosophy they advocate in a sustained way. They give up quickly. Persons forming third parties also need to convince potential followers that they are not in the political business of personal gain. They must prove that principles guide their efforts, and that the goal is a new and transformed society and political order. Leaders of third parties also have to refute the idea by others that they have everything they need, but they want more at the people's expense. And these leaders will also have to show that they have a different kind of political philosophy, and that the third party is not third in terms of some numbering system, but is a movement with no other goal than the political expression of the general will of the people. And that indeed, the third party is the people in action. And since the new political institutions and the party establishes will convey and manifest the aspirations and objectives of the people, and that's what we hope. So, selflessness, noble sense of purpose, and the urgency to do the will of the people become the philosophical frame of reference for the third party. And with this in mind, third parties then will enjoy the confidence and the goodwill of the people, and will therefore gain the respect and the credibility. It could then become a potent force for good in the politics of the region. So, question: do you think that third parties are doomed to failure? Again, I say, no, not necessarily. What say you? Would you ever support a third party? And think of what I've said. There have never been a third party that showed staying power. They rise up for the election at hand a few months before, and they don't make it, and they just die off a few months after, a few days after the election. And so they really don't exhibit no staying power. And so therefore, there goes another one by the wayside, as opposed to the established parties that have stayed around, and in some cases go stronger and stronger, and strong enough to crowd out everything else and everybody else. So, just a thought. Again, do you think they're doomed to failure? Is it possible that it could ever happen? Third party get traction? Is it possible that a third party one day will think about sticking around and losing one or two elections, but sticking around until they get some traction? What say you? That's my take. 869-465-2555 is the local number, and 718-577-2916 is the overseas number if that's more convenient. But we will take a quick break. When we come back, join us on those numbers, and we will have a conversation on all of that.
Working for you. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Roy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call in to interact with your government and share your views regarding the upward forward development of your community and our beautiful Twin Island Federation. Working for You is weekly, every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with rebroadcast on participating stations. Working for You.
All right, welcome back to Frank and Candid on this Wednesday. I'm Tony Nass, and our conversation today centers around the whole idea of third parties in politics in the region under our system, where the two-party system, as we say, tend to dominate the scene, choking off everything else. And to some extent, it is allowed to happen because third-party attempts don't have the staying power. They don't stick around. They just drop by the wayside. They come in for an election and then disappear. Don't stick around. So why is it that that happens? And is there any support based on our traditions? Is there any support for third parties? And so if there's none, then we continue to talk about how we feel about a particular administration, good or bad, and when we want to change, we change back to the old, and change back to the old, and change back to the old. So anyway, let's go to the phone and say good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning, Brother Tony.
Hey,
good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Well, I am one. Always in there a third party to come on the stream. Now, look at it now. Many years back ago, third party come, but third party come because they want to win somebody, take some party vote. Because they never serious. I remember the unit and next party come again and try to come into the election and then after a while they fade away. But look at it now. The PLP come as a third party because everybody knows how the PLP come. And it come as a third party. And PLP, you know, in government as a third party, join up with the CCM and the People's Action Movement. And I believe that is the best for the country. And I believe that moving on in election, I will always to see a unity for government between different parties from the government instead of individual parties. Because I believe in what under a unitary party, a unitary government, better than a individual government. Because what happened before, I don't think will happen again. Now look at this, look at it now. Now, they say the Prime Minister and the different cabinet members and the problem and all kind of things. But the government is still running good. You know them coming out and saying no negative things against one another. We hear people saying things. And the government is doing what they got to do. You know, one man is in charge of this and one man in charge of that. So, in my political career going forward, I will always like to see a unity government in this country running a government. No more individual party. I believe individual party, they take advantage of the people and take advantage of the country. All right then.
Okay, thank you for your input. However, we talk about the idea of a third party. The party mentioned here by the caller is not necessarily in that vein because they're not competing against the other two entities. We're talking about a third party competing against the other two entities, and that is really not the case here. That particular party is in a coalition with one of the entities, Team Unity. So it works that way. That's fine. They couldn't have a million parties like that. They will work because they're in a coalition. But if they're competing separate and apart from the other two entities, that's a different story. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen Enzing, and in the spirit of Thomas Sankof Sankara of Burkina Faso, Africa. Blessed be my beloved African, but over your the family. What's the topic, man? Just tuning in.
Just tuning in. We're talking about the viability of third parties, why they don't survive.
But let me just dive out just a little. But the only political solution, right? For another party. Well, I don't want to say party, because party you just fawn and phallic and all kind of nonsense. A political movement, beloved brother, is a Pan-African political movement. We try all kind of things. We don't think its name. It's not true, for their fields, but in the African diaspora. And what? Well, unity, I don't know, because I don't go by hearsay. So far, they do some great things, some good things. And, but you ain't got no Pan-Africanists among them. And that is the problem. And then get a third party, you're going to go by your wayside again. What we need is a Pan-African political movement. Pan-African minded young sisters, young brothers. And you got some, middle age, I'd give them advice. One of them could be ministers when they take governance of St. Kitts Nevis. But you got this one time you find this party come up, that party come up, And, it just fade away. Beloved, all kind of split and all kind of thing. None of them Eurocentric, rooted political parties in St. Kitts Nevis is going to be our solution as African peoples. Not before, not now. So the only solution, beloved, ain't no third party. I don't like this nonsensical label about third party. Third party, political party is a political party. A political movement is a political movement. What you got to say? So why be? It's bias against because a party or political movement just come on board, say, in the first 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Nah, man, come on. We got to stop this Eurocentric crap, beloved. And that is one of our major problem, beloved. We take everything. Not me, no. Those Negroes, neo-colonialists who want to be more Caucasian than Caucasian, they take all kind of thing and just consume it. All the ideologies from Caucasian, and they just run it. No, man, we gave civilization to the world. How come we can construct a good political movement that benefits us in our interests? And we got to start this labeling about third party and all kind of nonsense, beloved. Beloved, and someone else want to speak, so continue to listen. Keep up the great work. Pan-Africanism our best. One love, my African brother.
All right. Pan-African Political Movement, the PPM. All right. Question is, if you're going to have a Pan-African political movement, you need Pan-African members and candidates. And question is, where are they? Where are they? All right. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes,
yes,
sir. You look at this type of election, I always feel like everybody should be able to vote for the candidates that are eligible to vote for. When I say eligible, in terms that you deposit, you make a deposit whether you're in a party or you're going independent or whatever. But every person should vote for. Okay, you got 11 seats, right?
Yeah.
No, you're going to take for all the persons and the thing, whether you're going to put them down alphabetically or in party, on a party line or whatever. Everybody vote for, but you only could vote for 11 persons. Now, at the end of that, quite naturally, some will be in some party, some could be independent, and then maybe the party with the most people who would have been voted for, put form the government. I don't know how you look at that, but I always feel like everybody should be voting for the candidates they will prefer. They don't necessarily have to be under one party, or you're back in a party. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so I look at that. I don't know what the disadvantages would be, and maybe, if it could be discussed, or, what would be the benefits also, really. Okay, cool.
All right. That's an interesting discussion to have as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Mr. Nice.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm calling you from New York City. You know how Pan Party came to be?
No, tell me.
Well, Pan Party used to be a party they called the Democrat Party. And they was controlled mostly by the Wigley family and most Caucasian people. And Billy Hobart and Dr. Simmons didn't want to get that label because they didn't want to go up against Bradshaw and Salt, the establishment under that label. And that's how the Pan Party was formed. Billy Hobart and Dr. Simmons formed the Pan Party with Powell. And Nazir Keynes, they formed the Pan Party. So I don't think there's no way possible St. will ever have a third party. Because our country is not that big. And we don't have that, we only 60,000 people. Our population is not that big. Two parties, we can't spread no further than we spread. So you could have a proper party every election. They're not going to make no foothold. So that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. And I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. Nice.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning, caller. You're live. Okay. Good morning. Caller, you're listening to me? You with me? You're live? Okay. All right. We're not getting that caller. All right. Well, yeah, to the question of independent candidates and all of that. We got a caller there. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Nice, maybe I should qualify that thing I just suggested a while ago. No, I'm saying that you only could vote for 11 persons.
Right.
No. Within that universal set of 11, if you wish and you only see 2 that you think is best to be in government, which might sound foolish, for how you going to pick 2 out of 11 to form a government for you? It means that majority out of that you ain't select, mean they will be forming the government that you don't appreciate. I don't know how you see it, but you could vote only for 11 persons. Well, the maximum you could vote for, let me put it this way then, is 11.
Are you saying that...
anything under that.
Are you saying that every person can vote for 11?
More than 11, the ballot is spoiled. You understand what I'm saying? If you vote for more than 11, the ballot will be no good for you. You don't know which out of the amount that the person voted for, which 11 should be in it. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
No, but of course, what I'm saying, within that same context, I mean, any number underneath 11, a subset underneath 11, you know, will be valid. So on the night of the election, you take up a ballot in whichever constituency, and you see X on it, Mr. X and Mr. Y and Z, and so till you get 11, those persons will get the vote. Now, at the end of the day, you will know which person the citizens prefer to be maybe Prime Minister. And then you may very well put it the way that the second person, so that would be the Deputy Prime Minister. I don't know how you look at it. Okay.
Okay. Well, our system is one of representative system, constituency system, where you're voting in a constituency for a representative. Let's go back to the phones. Welcome. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Already last week and this week I hear going to talk. You know, just listen to you not talk what you want to do. But when I hear something I got to call. So part they call a part 2 commission, 2 party commission. And they call it all over the world. But probably people in America really need a third party. Something more than a name. We don't have some them, we don't understand them. We don't understand some them. We don't understand that what they do copy. But we got a name and a third party all over the world. They call it in America. Republican, Democrat, something nobody could get between them. Labour and Farm, nobody could get between them. That's why I'm here to farm unity. You understand? And that's some people got to come to be some politicians them and some party. And that's all. You repeat them, but they don't make out. And so that you can't go on bad. What you put in and what you put in. I don't know if you start putting things in party car now. You're only for confusion. So, we don't see how they listen or some of them are going to car and I don't just speak out, you know. And it's not all it is, yeah?
Okay, it's always good to hear you. That's good. Going back to the phone. Good morning,
Hey,
welcome.
brother,
Yes, sir.
I had to call again.
Yes, sir.
What you said that we are there before in meaning what?
The candidates, the membership.
Membership, brother, you build that. You build that, brother. What you think I'm a rage every day? Just for run me out?
Exactly, so I'm asking where they
are. I call on the young people every day.
Right, so I'm asking where they are. I want to see them come forward.
Well, brother, you could do it too, you know. You could help too, brother. You ain't got to wait until nobody see problem. We always wait for this person to emerge. No, listen, look in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, what you see?
I must
yourself, myself, others. So, brother, you can help.
I must want.
Help you get Rascal, you get Brother Africa. If you go up Nevis, you get Brother family One Love Rastafari movement, Empress Shelley and Brother IUI, and he got others, and Kofa over there in the Pan-African Republic of the They got others, but we just got to instill Pan-Africanism in our children from an early age, and then we just think the membership, because we want 2 candidates so far, we got 3 candidates, ain't got to be a full slate, but you start somewhere, brother. Start somewhere, and you got yours truly here, ready.
Well, you see, that's what I want to hear.
Beloved.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
I ain't hearing you to play.
I said that's what I wanted to hear, that you're ready.
Of course, brother, and you know that too. You know that too, beloved.
All right.
You know that.
All right.
I'm here ready, but now Boldoon cannot do it.
Mm-hmm.
You need all of us.
Okay.
Whether you're a Christian, Muslim, whatever, we just got to got one thing in common. That's Pan-Africanism must be our mantra and our philosophy, beloved.
Okay.
That's it. Okay?
All right.
Continue to listen, beloved.
Sure. Okay. Let's go back to the phone. We're going to this caller. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Yeah, I want to say, but another easy got to come start, you know, because people just talking and nobody starting nothing. He could start to do it in America and all. You know? Start to pick up a membership card, get people, because everything online now, get some members online and start to pick up, get involved with the people in here, with the Rasta bridging them here and so, the African bridging them, and do what you got to do. So, but another, if you're interested, you got to start something. That's your right. You understand? You got Brother Colon you're interested in and other Rasta you're interested in. Right? But they're not start nothing because the people, some of the people in here weak. You understand? They believe in different things. And to be truthful, I believe PLP is a party, and I will like to see PLP grow as a political party in the federation, even if that's how it's in India. I would like to see PLP grow. You understand? Because right now, I'm a member of PLP. I'm a member of the PLP party. You understand? And I believe that is a third party to come on stream in the federation because of whatsoever. You know? You see, members of political parties, they don't pay the party dues. And they don't things. Only when the party in government, they try to endorse and say things and do that and do that. You got to build the party, but building an organization. You yourself got to come forward and help build the organization. Because everything needs money. Everything needs funds. You understand? So, but about to interesting, man, you got to start something. Not just talk. Okay, Tony?
Okay. All right. Thank you for your input. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
The only third party we're going to go is the corona, and that's what keeping us alive till God come. God. They must go, though we're going to be here for a very, very long time. So I don't know brother about the saying, because I mean, I know other party here tell us we can't even go with this party, we just put in there, we don't go with other party. All of them don't come with their mouth full of lies, and when they're done, they pull up the pocket and go leave us. Yeah, we ain't see what's going on, you know. Just what Mr. Dupan said that was going on, but we're too blind to see you here. Things are happening that we know, so now we just a blind up and say, I'm only a little sweat. The person that would just start talk after me talk about the third, my unity. You only say unity because I get a good amount of money out of unity. Let them fire themselves, you never get nothing. He just say, me not back them, me stay with Pam. It's a catching it, you know. Anybody watch this how things going, just a catch. They go with it, they would never praise up the party. Them and some others would have come on all in a foreign who are getting 500. That's why I said unity. If they wasn't getting it, Mr. Nayas, they would have never said nothing good about the party. And that's how we're going to go till God come. My brother, now you're willing, but it's still we're going to be weak. You have a good day.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. Good morning, welcome. Good morning, caller.
Mr. Nayas,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to everybody. What I want to say here this morning, PLP is a party. PLP joined with PAM and CCM. Okay? Nobody has to study what Mr. Dupont say. What Mr. Dupont saying, he ain't saying nothing to the two different, don't leave. Mr. Dupont going down the same track. And they're always talking about PAM people. Right? I want to let PAM people know, do not be distracted. We remember, Prime Minister Harris joined with PAM to form the government. PAM joined with Timothy Harris. And if they have any problem, I don't know. But people are you, do not get distracted. Don't take sleep and remember that. And all of them who come in and read and talking about who does get onto foreign, I think it's me born. Me no name Krista Harbour. Okay? This is the kind of problem we gonna get. Krista Harbour come and get 42 million out of people passport money and them a watch what get this? Eh? The Jamaican them and the Guyanese them a come and them a get. It's all good. They live there. She need to look for herself and stop interfering trying with on people. Because PAM Unity Bill she out, she was struggling for years. That was ungrateful. And gratefulness was done with crab. Some of them was struggling for years with the house and with the businesses. And when this unity government get in, they get you and they gone back. Ungrateful people. That's why I'm saying stop interfering with people and trying what on people. I think it's me ban. And I think it's me not spend most of my time. Okay? And when I don't know what I'm on the radio, because me talk about PAM before they join with PLP and before any radio station come on. So PAM people, I ain't no Mr. Dupa nothing, I ain't no Dwyer nothing, and I ain't no none of them nothing, neither PAM nor PLP. All of us come together to form this party. And if I look what they're doing, trying to bring down PAM, but we'll make it up with Sean. And he now go walk and me now go stop talk and none of you go make me stop talk. Me not talk because me again me support PAM for years and me not get nothing. You get a house finished bill, so you should bring up the unity government and the Prime Minister and stop interfering with people.
All right.
Don't mess with me, okay? Bye.
Okay. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Yeah, Bonnie, you're right. But three party that about three party of hungriness. People have talked about them and build up Prime Minister. Prime Minister pocket full and now we want hungry. $350 can't feed people. People in a house like a pool for 18 hours that they can't get nothing to eat. Until now it come them and come out like a crab. So this is why we think about hungriness of people. The Prime Minister don't need and a back there and now we have hungriness. But it's your right to back in and bab.
Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. We're talking about possibility of third parties. Do they have a chance? Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Nice.
Whoa.
You know, regardless of who is in power, right? If we do not change the systems under which they operate, we're going to be back here with the same conversations over and over and over again. It's not about personalities. It's not about parties, whether first, second, or third party. If we do not change the system under which they operate, if we do not hold them accountable, they will do the same thing. It's just human nature, right? Regardless how good their intentions are. When they go in there, it's a simple case of power corrupting. So change the system so that you may not be able to remove all the corruption, but at least you can reduce it, right? And that is why I said it's the good governance systems that we need. So regardless to who is in power, that there will be checks and balances to prevent the abuse of power, okay, and the corruption and so on that goes on. And in nepotism, right? I think it was Bernard Shaw who said, I saw somebody post a quote this morning, progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. And I thought it was so instructive for these times here when, for instance, people like DuPont apparently has a change of heart and see things differently. If you're thinking you cannot stay in one vein all the time, if you're thinking as in new information comes and things are different, then you adjust accordingly. Okay? And Mr. Nass, I think you were guilty of that yesterday too, you know. I heard the comment you made about going back to what was there before. In the first place, what we're talking about is changing whatever change there is until we get the change that we want. All right? If that means going back to what was there before, then you do so. You're not going back to what was there before in the sense of you expect them to do the same thing. You are expecting them to do better because they did badly before. They were punished for it. Okay? And so you think that they'd learn the lesson. Because the alternative is you keep the same. There's the saying now that these are even worse than those before. More egregious. And people are right to feel that. Because they were saying all that was wrong before. And they came in and did the same or worse. Well, who deserves more punishment? They certainly don't deserve to stay in the position. Okay? Because that would be just rewarding them for the same bad behavior. And so, change and keep changing until we get the change we want. And it's not about parties or personalities. Okay? Yes, you have to look at who present themselves to you to be elected. Okay? Because there are some people who should not be anywhere near public office. Okay? Based on their record. Right? But in the final analysis, whoever goes into government should operate under a set of rules and regulations, call them what you will, that prevent them from becoming too powerful and abusing their power. Because in the final analysis, it's the citizens who get the bad end of the stick. Okay? All right then.
Okay. The record, the history, all matter to the electorate when it's time to vote. And if you have a history and you have a record people can look at, it matters. And performance does matter. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
How are you?
I'm well.
Jacqueline, you're so right. Let it keep them so. And Straffman is because you can't get a two job where you going down the government throat. You know, do you nothing. See you.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Niles.
Okay, good morning.
You realize all the people who have the no say and the right and everything, you know, they don't put themselves in position to be tried, but they know the know-how and everything. You know, with the COVID thing now, we have a lot, almost everybody think it's now become doctors and scientists, and they never sit down in a science class or biology class for a second or two. But they are now the biggest and most expert doctors. People who say that they had simultaneous jobs, you know, where they teach at the college, and they were still, while they were working at the college, during those same hours they were employed somewhere else. They know how people are supposed to operate. But I wonder if they knew then how they were supposed to operate when they admit on radio that they had simultaneous jobs. You know? But they know how everybody now is supposed to operate. But they were supposed to be teaching children, because maybe some of these same children, these people who are in government, they were ignored by that person. So maybe that's why they don't have the know-how like the person. So if he did stay in the classroom and teach the people, the kids at that time, they would have the know-how instead of coming out now after to tell them when they're not really listening to him.
But when he had them in front of him in a classroom, he didn't stay in the classroom to teach him. He had another job somewhere else. Good day, Mr. Nice.
All right. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning, Mr. Nice.
Good morning, sir.
May I weigh in at the topic at hand?
Sure.
While I agree that changes needs to be have, I am doubtful that a political party or parties is going to do it when they hold the hands of office. Because if we have a status quo that is here and we are saying it's not working, the owners will be the people, bipartisan persons of goodwill, in spite of their party politics, their preference of what party they choose is. Collectively, right across the line, put in something that I have said earlier. They have what we call a document that they bring a manifesto. Let us, the people, put in our own manifesto. This is what we want within 90 days and so forth. Put a timeline to it. Because without that, without the people's input, it's not going to work. The political parties will always have their manifesto. Good. But our manifesto, what the people want, collectively, bipartisan, right across the board, will be that other manifesto that will keep that manifesto, the manifesto from the party that wants to hold office, keep them to the fire. Or else it's not going to happen, because party is going to get sworn into government and they're going to get there and get complacent. 90 days going to pass without any signs of what the people want, and then the 5 years is going to pass. Yes, they are committed to say, well, because they might have campaigned on certain things. But look how many persons, look how many times parties has campaigned on things and the 5 years elapsed and nothing has happened. So it's the bottom line is the people in a bipartisan way, right across the board. Collectively putting something to the government or to the party that will assume office. This is what we want. Thanks for listening.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
I'm so agree with that young man. So true. Because when the coming at the end of the party now going to vote, the next day they can't even present you with the manifesto. So you could say, well, this is what they said they're going to do. You please about it as one. Sometimes they bring the manifesto that late. Manifesto used to get out a long time. When they say election next month, all of this month people don't get manifesto in their hands. So to know what Mr. Brother say here on the phone, what he ain't do. These things just trickery and trickery that we know where we're going and we're going to get full all the time. And it's social security. Let the whole world hear me. Social security money bill this, not out of no government pocket. And we must get sense that we make the country now go good as I like what Mr. Dupont say. A lot of things happening and we know some we don't know Mr. Dupont no more than me. And like he talk it out and I'm not trying no money, no water or nobody overseas. Mr. Nias, we have down there by the tourism. A lady aim from here. Up by the airport. Immigration aim from here. We can't go into them country and get them kind of job there. I don't know how they get them. This young lady in your amateur, her mother was a born from years I know, right? And the girl amethyst who was supposed to get that tourism job. No worry them, this ain't about no vex with government to the vex. We vex with everybody who in government because they ain't seen out for the citizens who born here. They're giving overseas people the position to get over us. That lady when she leave from me, she gonna laugh all the way back to Jamaica now because she see that we ain't good. We ain't good.
Thank you for your input. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. Good morning, caller. You're live. Okay. try the next one. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Yeah, good morning, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. First, I want to wish Mother Delaney of the village there. She make 94 today. I want to wish her all the best. And I want to send, belated birthday greetings to Gregory Seaton from Trinity, Taxi Man. I want to wish him all the best. And I want to send, anniversary greeting going out to Bowen Smith up here. Buckley, I want to wish her all the best. She loving husband, caring husband. And I want to, all these young women who fall in love with the husband and skipping to the husband, I want to take them an example of a Bowen Smith and she husband. Living good and living happily together. I want to wish them all the best of togetherness. Okay, then, Tony.
All right, we got a final caller. We'll take this one as final. Go
Hey,
ahead.
I'm glad I got in. What time is it, Mr. Nayas?
Time to go. Quickly, go ahead.
Yes, now this thing about the third party and the combination proposed by Mr. Dupont. I love Mr. Dupont. It doesn't make any sense if you include Dr. Douglas. His very own party, a branch led by Edinburgh, is asking him to step down and step out. You know, it's unfortunate that he has allowed himself to be sucked in. And for Mr. McMahon to suggest you just change makes no sense. If you really want to change the system, you have got to have, in fact, new parties altogether. But this lobbying to get back in the Labour Party, or the guys that, this one is the worst. It's ridiculous because the facts are there to prove to the contrary. I don't have any party card, But what McMahon is saying doesn't make any sense. A man beating you up, you leave him, and then you go to the next one, and then you go back. It is illogical, but you see, the thing is to deceive common people. They bring up these statements. It makes no sense. Who is going to lead the Labour Party? What is the philosophy and the practice are miles apart. So, the philosophy and the practice has never coincided. So I side for Mr. Dupont, I like him. But he has allowed people to mess up, play with his mind. He allowed them to, because they're using him, He has complained he was never ever treated well by them before, even when he put up his money. They're using
take
him.
Your point, but we gotta go.
God bless you. Have a good day.
All right, see you too. I like your analogy. Husband beat you up, you leave, but you go back. All right. Thank you all for joining me today. We will be back tomorrow with much more right here on Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nass. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Breast cancer is perhaps the world's most commonly diagnosed cancer. However, access to information on breast health education and affordable medical care continues to be a challenge. That's why we at Courts have joined in on the fight against breast cancer with various organizations in the OECS to promote awareness and provide